You kind of going back to your first point, talking about children in grief, and children do grieve differently than adults. And our idea, and when kids are, and I actually did a thanatology course, which is a study of death culture. When children are, by the time they go into high school, they've been exposed to death and dying some like 7,000 times between media, social media, what's online, video games, things like that.
Welcome everyone back to the Make It Count show. I'm your host, Michelle Latocha, and today my guest is Krystal Riddell from Essentials Cremation. Welcome, Krystal.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Are you excited to be in that little hot seat?
Yes, very excited for my very first time, my first podcast.
Yeah, Krystal just let me know that this is her first podcast, so I'm so excited to be her first. Okay, so tell me a bit about yourself. I know you, but tell our viewers a bit about yourself and why you started Essentials Cremation.
Okay, so I became a funeral director about 20 years ago. I went to school, went to Humber, and I decided that I wanted to become a funeral director, be able to help people. And so once I completed my schooling and my internship, I have been working within the Niagara region as a funeral director full-time for, like I said, past 20 years. After the first 11 years within my career, I decided that I wanted to open up my own funeral home. So I basically brainstormed, created a business plan, and sort of thought what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do things sort of in my own way. And I opened up Essentials. It's going to be 7-year anniversary as of tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. We actually opened.
So, yeah.
Wow, 7 years. Yeah. And you have 2 locations, correct?
I do, yes. So our Niagara Falls location was our first location that we opened, our first office. And then just over the couple years, due to necessary expansion, we needed to open up a secondary spot because we needed some more space. And so we opened and found a really nice location in Welland. And so then we opened up our Essentials in Welland about 4 years ago.
Wow. And I can attest this because I've been to both locations, but the Welland one, you showed me around, it's such a great environment. It's peaceful. And I think that's what you want when you walk into a funeral home, is that sense of peace where you feel like, you know what, I'm just sitting in my living room and I'm just talking with a family friend. So you've done a really good job of making that feel comfort.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you have the chance to see both spaces, they're really uniquely different, which is kind of cool. I think that the idea that we're going for is to have something that is modern, a little bit updated, and something that doesn't feel completely funeral-y. So our Niagara Falls location is exact opposite, actually, of what the Welland location is. Welland does look a little bit more traditional, like a funeral home. It's in an old-time home that was built in the 1870s.
Yeah.
But the Niagara Falls location is sort of uniquely situated within a plaza type of setup. But there's a lot of windows, a lot of natural light, and when people come in there, they feel very comfortable, very much at peace, but they also feel like they're not sitting in a funeral home. So I think that has really done well for us in that sense.
Do you feel like over the years, there's a certain age demographic that appeal to more traditional? Do you feel like there were 2 different locations on purpose? One's more traditional, one's more modern to appeal to different demographics, or?
That wasn't any intention behind that. We just found a space that would be suitable and that we felt that we can make it work. And so that's why we went for the second space. And it's okay. And I kind of think it's neat to have its own identity as a place as well. So it has its own unique feel. Like I said, a little bit of an older home, has a lot more history, is in a unique spot within Welland, and it's on Division Street. So they have a lot of homes in that area. Back in the day, it used to be quite a prestigious little area there.
Yeah.
So.
I think I heard, I don't know if you watched ever The Handmaid's Tale. Have you ever watched that?
I haven't, no.
But I heard, and I'm probably going to get really harassed by this, but I think it was either in Fort Erie or Welland, they did their show because of those homes. Like in that episode or that series, it has homes just like that.
Oh, yes.
And very prestigious.
Okay. So that's kind of the neat thing with our Welland location. It has the old pillars, and it actually, the occupants within that home, which is now Essentials, was belonged to the governor of education back in that day. So
oh my goodness.
There's quite a bit of history within that space.
Wow. Yeah. You provide such an essential service to families in a really tough time. How do you balance being professional with offering empathy?
Well, I think that just comes natural. I think as me being a funeral director or any of the girls that I have with us, I think that comes natural to us to be professional, to be empathetic, and to be understanding that today everybody has different needs. So I'm trying to just be accommodating to whatever the needs are when the person walks in through the door. You don't know what their story is, but to get to know them, to get to learn about them, and then to be able to serve them. So
yeah, that's wow. What do you think makes Essential Cremation stand out in our community?
I would like to think it would be us being able to provide exceptional service and support, and at the same time also to be not only about giving back to the community in terms of a really important service that is needed, but also from sort of our community support where we do a lot of giving back to the community, like volunteer work. So philanthropy is a huge thing for me. So I think that all these little elements really help us stand out.
Yeah, and that's actually my next question, because I know you're really big on philanthropy and community work and part of the Rotary. How do you balance running two businesses, being a funeral director, being a mom, a wife, and still do some charity work? There's a saying that if you need something done, ask a busy person. So we always find time to get things done. But finding balance, everything's a lifestyle, and you just keep going. That's just it. And you do it because you have a lot of support around you, and hopefully at the same time have a lot of understanding people within your lives. So when you don't see your friends for 6 months at a time, well, there's a reason behind it, because one day leads into a week, leads into a month, leads into the year. Yeah. And I guess your profession is unpredictable.
It is. Yeah.
Right. At the moment where you don't think you'll be busy, you might be really busy. And we've shared that sometimes we have to rebook our coffee because it just happens, where that is the nature of the beast.
Oh, absolutely. It's your day. You might think, oh, okay, I'm waking up, I'm going to go, and I have these two appointments, and you get to just get into your car and your phone starts ringing. So it is unpredictable, and you're there when people need you, and you just have to have the ability to be able to accommodate and to change sort of based on minute by minute. So
are there any specific charitable initiatives that you're really proud of?
Well, right now, I think I have one more year. I did a capital campaign sponsorship for Hospice Niagara, I guess they're opening up their location in Welland, and they have one in Fort Erie. I think that just is opening as well. But we sponsored 2 patios at the Welland location for Hospice Niagara. So that was a $50,000 contribution. And so that's from our whole, our team from Essentials, being able to sponsor that feels like a pretty big deal for us. So
that's amazing. Yeah. The community needs more people like you.
Oh, thank you.
It just, we were talking before about just the need in our community and how do we make a difference? Because sometimes, as I shared, it gets overwhelming to see the need and not be able to support everybody when you're an empath. And I think, as a funeral director, you probably have the same qualities you have empathy. And when you see people in need and not be able to help them all, I don't know where that line is or how you set those boundaries of how can we do more as a community?
Right. Coming from, being that empath and also a people pleaser. Yes, it's really hard to say. Well. It's really hard to say no. And there's a lot of need. And so, when I think professionally, as we network and people in business, they network, they're able to sort of communicate and to come up with plans or things that they can do to support the community. That's where you see a community is built and really well supported locally. So, I think that's an important element to be able to build a network. So then who you could turn to for resources and who you can turn to help, and with the best intentions, always move forward, helping who you can. So yeah,
that's really good. Okay, so let's play a little game. It's called If I Were.
Okay.
Let's get to know you a little bit more.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the sentences and you can complete them.
Okay.
If I were a superhero, my superpower would be...
I guess time porting.
Like,
Move back and teleportation.
Teleportation.
I think that's it. That would be it. I think the idea of being able to go back in time and back and forth, and that would be kind of neat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If I were a flavor of ice cream, I'd be
vanilla. I'm pretty safe.
If I were stranded on an island, the one item I'd want with me is
probably sunscreen.
Yeah.
If it's tropical, sunscreen, because I hate getting burnt. Something that I need, a necessity or something that I'd have, I'd probably have to say my phone.
Your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. If I were a character in a movie, I'd be
I don't know, probably like the main female lead.
Yeah, girl power.
Yeah.
Okay. If I were a book, I would be
probably if I was a book, probably a teenage, like rom-com, little romance novel, like a Twilight.
Twilight series. Oh,
I know.
Gosh.
Blast from the past. There's my generation. Yeah.
Did you watch the Twilight series? Or
I was huge on that.
Were you really?
Going through that? Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if I was big on Twilight, but I had a series of like Supernatural. It was kind of like that, but it wasn't Twilight. I think,
okay.
Yeah, but I get that. I forgot about Twilight series.
I know. That's again.
That's aging.
That's a few years ago now, but that's okay. Yeah. I think not so much for the supernatural thing.
Yeah.
I'm more of like, that romancy rom-com sort of thing.
Oh, you like romance?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what type of movie do you like?
Like that sort of movie.
Yeah, you're not into like horror or thriller.
No, I can't. No, I'm like Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, so am I. We were the same. Every time my husband like, let's watch a movie that's like a little bit more intense. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I like just comedy and love.
Yeah, right. That's it. It's
That's
easy.
all we need is love. Exactly.
Right.
But I also fall asleep at 9:00. So if we have to watch a movie, it has to be at 2 p.m. in the day. Okay, so let's talk about the goals and your visions for the future. What does success look like for you? Not just so much in your business, but how you impact others.
So for success to me is being able to be happy, to be able to do what I love to do, and to be able to it's the longevity of enjoying what we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's success. It doesn't necessarily have to mean increase in numbers, increase in revenues, increase in anything. It's just maintaining and being happy and helping people.
Wow, that's really good. If you could change one thing about how people perceive or approach the end of life care, what would it be?
I think if they could just be educated on it and to know. If I wish people were not afraid of it, but maybe embraced it a little bit more, not be afraid to talk about it, to be open about it, because at a time in their lives where people are going to be faced with that sort of reality, having an understanding and a knowledge behind it is super important, because it will be a lot more comforting, less anxiety in a time that is just very emotional and hard. I think having an understanding about it would certainly be beneficial.
I think we spoke about this before, but full disclosure, I think it's also the way I was raised in an Italian home. There was this kind of like gray cloud when someone passed, and it's like the mourning. But like as a child, it kind of instilled fear.
Right.
Like for the longest time, I was scared to go into a funeral home in my adult life.
Yeah.
Just because of the way I perceived it as a child, of like, oh my gosh, I don't know much about it. Like you said, there wasn't a lot of talking about it. It was just like the mourning, the grieving. And it's like, I feel like children process things differently. It's like when my grandmother passed away, my children processed it so differently, where we talk about her still of all the memories instead of thinking she's not here.
Right.
Do you feel like it has changed over the years? Because, before nobody like in my family was open to cremation. Like that was like, oh my gosh, no way. It was always traditional. But when I express my feelings of, going back into the earth, and there's more I think, openness to it now. Do you think that's changed over the years?
I think it is changing. I think with like the rise of the internet and information being a lot more available. So within the past like 15, 20 years, I think people are more open to being able to search and to get information. So whether or not it's right information or not is a different thing. I think culturally, funeral services has certainly seen a big shift in types of services and what takes place from people doing more traditional. So I'm like you, had a very traditional Italian family, grandparents, grandma, nono, and they all had like more like traditional type of services, and that's how we were raised, right? Whereas I think that we have a broader demographic now. There's different cultures and big communities within cities and within Niagara. And so with that comes different belief systems. Everything's a little bit different, but cremation is certainly on a rise for what people are, for a means of a disposition. If people want to be cremated, I think it's about almost 75% of people in Ontario when they pass are cremated. And then the rest may potentially be burial or natural burials, or it can be like entombments. So, but yeah, at least 75%, and it's going to continue to grow from here. People are a little bit different. You kind of going back to your first point, talking about children in grief, and children do grieve differently than adults. And our idea, and when kids are, and I actually did a thanatology course, which is a study of death culture. When children are, by the time they go into high school, they've been exposed to death and dying some like 7,000 times between media, social media, what's online, video games, things like that. And so, and usually under media, like death is never a peaceful, like it's usually tragic. It can be very scary, kind of like Kobe Bryant when he died in the helicopter. That people hear all these things that the media feed to us, and then all of a sudden we start to draw our fears, and we start to imagine it's afraid, like people are afraid of dying. People are afraid of like what it could be, how it's going to happen, and they start drawing, and they learn those fears when we're young. So that's the thing is, so when we're sheltered from it, we can only grow our experiences based on what we see and what we learn. And so being able to involve children within like a funeral process, or being able to talk to them openly, or say it's okay that they see that the parents are crying, and being able to talk about things like that in grief, helping them understand that death is part of life, I think is really important.
Wow, that's so good. And I do love talking to you, because I just feel like you do bring so much peace to it. And I don't know if that's the right word, normalcy, because like you said, it is a part of life. And the worst thing that I could do as a mother for my children is create the same fears that I had growing up. Like even when someone else passes away, I want them to be able to express their feelings and not hold that fear in of like, living life through fear.
Absolutely. No, it's just like, again, sort of like moving the veil back and just saying, this is what's involved. When people talk about, or I'll use an example. My mom was the same too, in the sense that, I think parents just think we need to protect our kids.
Yeah.
We need to kind of shelter them from death and dying. We can't really let them see, the deceased individual laying in a casket. Yeah. And if they do, you have to be very quiet. You have to be very tender and don't touch them. And the thing is, I think if people are given the opportunity to explain to their kids, you can't get hurt. And this is emotional, but you have a choice, and giving kids the choice. Yeah. So if they want to go into the room, then that's fine. If they say, I'm really scared, I want to stay out here, then let them sit where they're comfortable, and don't force things onto them.
Yeah.
And so like I grew up very afraid of death and dying, actually, before I became a funeral director.
How ironic.
Really, I had an experience where he was my godfather that passed, and he died unexpectedly at home. And so it was like the whole family gathered into the house, and like he was still there. They were waiting for like the coroners to come in the funeral home, or I think it was the coroners at that time, removal service. And so like I remember sitting down and my mom saying, "Krystal, don't look behind you. Your uncle's just right behind you. Just stay facing this way." And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" So I look and I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Like there's someone that has passed away, and he's right there." And that was my first real experience of death and dying, which freaked me out. Okay. As a funeral director, that really freaked me out. So that was really scary. And then, going through and then understanding, we went through the visitation, we all get dressed up really nice. And like those traditional services have elements of respect, and which is really great. And like, it's honoring the person. You're there to honor the person that has died. But, at the same time, I went through that whole experience, but moving forward, I was always so afraid of it because it was scary, it was just a really bizarre experience to have. So all these years after, when my dad worked at the Canadian Tire that was beside the cemeteries in Welland, when we'd go visit him at work, I'd be like ignoring the cemeteries. I couldn't pay attention to like the cemeteries were that side. I was there to visit dad. And so things like that, I was always really afraid of. It wasn't until later that like I started to explore. I was going through high school and I wanted to learn what was involved in like, what could I do for a career that is involved helping people? So with social working, maybe being a teacher. Well, I had gone through another loss at that time, and it was a significant loss. And it was through that experience that I learned that a role of a funeral director existed. And so then I kind of learned more about it. And then I thought, well, maybe this is something that I could try. So it really, my part, like, my whole career evolved from that one significant loss, understanding that there was a career and what was involved within it. And it was still fear factor for me then. And so I went in and I had to do observation to become a funeral director. And so I did my observation, and even after my first observation, I was like, no, I'm not going back, because this freaked me out. Being like in a funeral home beside people really scared me. And it wasn't until I had a guidance counselor said, Krystal, what are you planning on doing? What are your thoughts? And I was explaining about my experience that I had within the funeral home. And so she got me on the phone with a funeral director, and she said, you know what? The director, it was really, I don't even know who it was, but I remember that the director said, things like that you get used to. And once you understand and you learn the respect and what goes on within the funeral home, you get used to those things. Whereas like helping people is like this, if you're a very compassionate young lady, which your teachers tell me you are, this might be a really good avenue for you. And it was that, like I said, don't know who that funeral director was, but I'm very grateful for them. But they're the ones that really pulled me into this path, and then you do, and then so once I had a better understanding and I learned what it was all about, that's what allowed me to grow into this role. That's and understanding amazing. It and not being fearful of it now, because now I don't fear it at all. So if other people learned more about it, they would be able to grow. And like it makes you feel
better hearing you say that, because I was always like, even my adult life, like having anxiety going up, driving there, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know, like what, because again, like you said, what you were taught as a child, until you make new perceptions for yourself, you like rely on those. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm an adult, like I have to do this. It wasn't until I had closer deaths in my family that I wanted to honor them and be with them. And it didn't matter if I was looking in the casket, I just wanted to be there. It wasn't until those moments that I realized their soul has left. This is just about celebrating their life. Like, and it's great that you said that. Like, I think people need to have an open conversation with their family. It is kind of one of those things where people don't want to talk about it. It's like, no, I don't talk about it. But it's like, wouldn't you rather talk about it when we're all together living than me just making those decisions when you're not here?
Absolutely.
It's so difficult. What services do you offer? Like, because, just speaking from experience, like I've had bad stories when I've gone in and it's just kind of like, this is what it is, thank you, pay for this, pick this out, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye. Right? It didn't feel so personal, right? But hearing what you do and how you show compassion and, you allow people to kind of have a say, even though it may be different, right? You have multiple options. So what other services would you say you focus on other than, the big umbrella of funeral directing?
So for us, other than like funeral directing, helping people when they need our service, there's pre-arranging is a really big part of what we do as well. So helping people have conversation, being prepared, being able to set up their own wishes and letting them know and encouraging them to make sure that what they want written down is reflective of their wishes and what they want, and not something that's influenced by other people. Being able to have that conversation. So again, they could be a little bit more open on helping families or talking to their families about it, helping their family members, because the more that they do ahead of time really alleviates a lot of logistic decision making that has to be done after. So prearranging is really a great, it's a gift for your family to be able to do that. You don't necessarily have to pay. You can prearrange and not prepay. It just having a plan put in place is really important, and being encouraging. So being able to be an educator, literally an educator, and helping people learn about what's important, what experiences people kind of have after they experience a loss. I think being able to share and educate people, letting them know the importance of having a will, things like that, I think are really big avenues that we really focus a lot of our time on at Essentials. So
wow, these are all great. Okay, let's play a game. Let's open it up a little bit. Okay, so name that object. Are you good at describing? Like, I feel like, we have very similar qualities, but I feel like you could describe objects really good. Like, you have good descriptive words.
Okay, maybe. We'll see.
Hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds on the clock, and you're just going to pull out you pull out one, I get it, move on to the next one. Okay. Then I'll do it to you.
Okay.
Okay. So when you pull it out, you try to describe the word to me, and then so you do as many in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay. So you can bring this closer to you.
All right.
Okay. Ready and go.
Okay. It's a toy and it goes up and down. And it goes around your finger.
Yo-yo.
That's it.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay, what else do I have to do?
Oh, keep pulling them out for as many as you can go. I'm going to give you an extra 10 seconds because clearly I can't explain the game.
All right. When you go to the movies, you eat this.
Popcorn.
All right. It's a tool that you use in your garage to put nails in walls.
Hammer. I'm going to give you a little more because clearly.
Oh, geez. Okay, it's a vegetable and rabbits love it.
Carrots.
Okay, it's a type of dinner you get on a Friday night because you've worked all week.
Pizza.
Okay, lifeguards have this. It's a device.
Whistle.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Really good. Okay, you use it to figure out your math. Sometimes it's on our phones.
Calculator.
All right.
Okay, all right. Time's out. Okay. Well, how many did you get?
Let me see. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my gosh.
5, 6, 7.
7. Okay.
Is there how many people usually?
3 or 4.
Oh, you did great. Oh, good.
Okay, you can put it in there. Okay. All right.
All right.
Ready?
All right.
You blow this up and it's a big circle. Yeah. Sorry. You blow this up and you can make it. You can use it for birthdays.
Balloons.
Yes.
Okay.
I should have just said helium. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's a symbol of sometimes spirits. It flies on you, but
a dove.
It could blow out. I'm going again. It could blow out fire, and then but it also flies.
Like a dragon?
Yeah, but it also flies. So it's a. Yeah, you said fly, dragonfly.
Dragonfly. Oh. Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, my head's going.
Okay, so you use this to put papers together. It's like a stick, and then you rub it, and the papers stick together. Okay.
Okay.
No. Oh my! Wow. I did not do well. That's a glue stick.
A glue stick. Okay.
Oh my gosh! I only got 2. No,
3.
3. Oh, you did so much better.
Well, that's okay.
Wow.
I have to describe things.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
That's
so
me.
again, just never invite me for any of these games. I'm only happy when I do games, but I'm not really good at them. Okay, so I want to talk about a piece of advice that you would leave for just Krystal's piece of advice. Okay, so if you could leave one piece of advice for anyone trying to make a difference in their community, because I know you're big on philanthropy, what would that be?
I think if I could suggest to anyone, I guess it would just be just go and do it because people need help. make time. I think that would be my advice, is just to find the time to go out and help people if you can.
Yeah, I love that time because, I think the same thing, because sometimes we think we need to give something or money or donations but just give your time.
Yeah.
Right?
It makes a world of a difference. There's a lot of lonely people out there right now too. Someone that just would like a friend to be able to talk to. And so a lot of people just, if you can give your time or volunteer your time, whether it's in different little organizations, service clubs, like I'm part of Rotary, that sort of thing. If you can just give a little bit of your time, I think that, it's just kindness, right? Spreading kindness and love is really important. So,
I love that. So tell our viewers how they can connect with you.
Okay, so you can connect with me on both. So I'm on social media. I have a professional page and personal page. I have my website, essentialsniagara.com, and people can call me. And my phone numbers are on our website. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll link everything. Once we post our videos, we'll link everything, all your socials, your website, how you can connect with Krystal. I think she has invaluable information. And like she said, it's just making it normal and talking and educating everyone and really just making this time of your life as peaceful as possible. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to end with this quote. In the end, we only regret the chances that we didn't take. So thank you so much, Krystal. It's been a pleasure. And we'll do this again.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you.